So I will, answer some of the questions, guys, which you have been asking here, and of course we'll have a dedicated Q&A in the end. Right now, if you visit this site, no more it's working. But if you look at that, what used to happen earlier was this company, which is again based in Delhi, a small company which is into gifting items, they redirect their website to their Facebook community. And now they have removed the site. They have, their site, I think probably the domain name has been taken away by someone else, and it doesn't make a difference because end of the day, they know that their entire customer base is on Facebook. So rather than creating a site and then doing stuff there, we can be where our customers are. So they do the entire business on Facebook. So the point here is, if you can, leverage your customers who are on social media, they really become your brand ambassadors. And the virality of medium like Facebook, Twitter makes that as an opportunity, which otherwise doesn't exist on a typical simple website. So we will be seeing more and more of shifting from website to communities. And this is one interesting example. Now if you look at this page, who do you think owns this page? And this is a very, very interesting example of the way you need to think about positioning on social media. So this is a page, if you look at the title of this page, that will tell you who owns this Facebook community. Yeah. So this is community owned by Dell. What is really unique and special about this community is, in this case, they wanted to serve, earlier it was called social media for small businesses. So they initially started with that, and they wanted to serve SMBs. And what they saw, that people on Facebook are not interested in listening about what a company has to say about their products and services. Because end of the day, a community is only successful when your people are participating ongoingly. And that is not going to happen unless you have something which is of real interest to your audience. So instead of Dell creating a community where they talk about Dell's product and service, they said for small and medium businesses, their key challenge is sales and marketing. And to be able to do effective sales and marketing, social media is a great option. And Dell as a company has a lot of interesting content, case studies about social media. So they said to these businesses, if we can help them grow using social media, when they want to buy a laptop or a product which Dell has to offer, they would eventually naturally come to Dell. So that way, if you see the whole branding, whole positioning on social media is getting altered. Earlier, people won't think that laterally. That social media, Dell creating a page which is named as social media for business. So that is one interesting international example, and that's happening now in India as well. If you see this community, Adidas, again Adidas knows that they cannot talk about shoes every day. So they link cricket, and they named this community called Adidas Cricket. So where they talk about cricket and still having the brand connected with that messaging. Similarly, Nestle, if you see their campaign which is on TVC and otherwise is called Know Your Neighbors. Their community on Facebook doesn't even have a Nestle name. It's called Know Your Neighbors. So end of the day, say one of the most important question you need to answer when you want to establish yourself as an individual or an organization as a brand, as a brand which people can trust, is when you are able to provide content, message, or whatever which is of real interest, which addresses real concerns of the people. If it is all about marketing, if it is all about talking about your product and service, people are not going to be interested. So that way, that the mindset of advertising, typical advertising where you do one time go where you blast a message and purely about product doesn't work. So here you need to think about long term, because everything on social media is largely about long term, except maybe for Facebook advertising, which you can run for using lead generation. You can use LinkedIn ads as well. But otherwise, building a community is all about building a community which is going to stay for a life. That's how the thinking has to be. So that way, if you see, you need to think in a different reference point where you think about how can my audience be engaged with me ongoingly. And some of the things which become important is how do you brand your presence. Another very interesting example. of how this unique usage of Twitter has helped them create a brand. If you are in Pune or even Mumbai, some of you would know this is about Fassos. Fassos is a restaurant chain which sells rolls, kebabs in Pune, and now they have come to Mumbai as well. Their 70% of revenue comes from home delivery. And one day, one of the guys is a good friend. He ended up building this system for them, which is called Tweet to Order. So what happens is, if you are a customer of Fassos, what Fassos will do is, along with your Twitter ID, like Fassos Twitter, their own Twitter ID is Fassos, your Twitter ID, for example, mine is Pradeep Chopra. So along with my Twitter ID, Fassos will store my address and phone number. And then when I have to order from Fassos, I don't need to call them, I don't need to visit them. What I can do is I can say @Fassos 4 rolls. That's it. Because from my ID, they know my address, they know my phone number. And if I want to get that delivered at a different location, I will put some keyword, and then they will call me, and then they will find out where I want that to be delivered. So if you see, it has a lot of hidden advantages. One is, of course, for a user who's on Twitter, for that person, typically if you see people who are on Twitter, their whole world is Twitter. For them, making a phone call is, making 100 times more difficult job than tweeting. That is one. It's convenience. For Fassos, what it really, gives is, when people are tweeting, people are letting their followers know that they are buying from Fassos. Now, what could be more better than every customer of yours telling other friends of theirs that they are buying a product from you? So that way, if you look at that, then there's again a huge media coverage they got. We've been talking about them in our workshops because they've been able to leverage in a very interesting way. This is still small, not a large, but if Domino's or Pizza Hut of them want to use it, that would be a huge, huge opportunity for them. Let me share another interesting example of Twitter, and that will answer the question about how Twitter is a search engine. If I ask you a question, how many of you have an account with ICICI Bank? I know a significant percentage of you would say yes. And my second question would be, how many of you have a problem with ICICI Bank? And typically I have seen even more hands gets raised up because people without having an account have problem because of the phone calls and all that. I had a problem with ICICI Bank. They were supposed to deliver a parcel to me, and it did not happen. Since the branch was on my way to office, I visited the branch and asked them what happened. They said, "Sir, sorry, this will be done in this week." Nothing happened. I waited for a week and I went again. They said, "Sorry, sir, she is looking at this, and for sure you will get it within a week." And again, nothing happened. And I visited and I said, "This is the last time I'm visiting. I will wait for 1 week and then I will do what I want to do." Guess even then nothing happened. So what I did, I tweeted, "ICICI Bank's customer service sucks. 3 visits to the branch and the problem is still there. Worse, they don't even care about calling back." The moment I tweeted, a friend of mine shared similar example with ICICI Bank, and I got a response back from ICICI Bank's Twitter. "Sorry to hear that. Anything we can do to help you regain your confidence in ICICI Bank. Happy to have someone reach out to you. Please direct message your contact details." So I sent them my phone number. I got a call from their customer service head from Chennai. He heard my problem, apologized, and he said within 24 hours you will get a mail with the step 2 resolution. And exactly that happened. We received the mail. And interestingly, coincidentally, I was sharing this example till this point of time in our workshop. And at the same time call came, my partner picked the call. They asked for my residence number. And then what happened was the branch manager of that branch, along with that guy who was looking at my case, went to my home along with that parcel. And my wife was sharing. They were feeling so apologetic as if they had murdered someone. So if you see, one is, of course, I got my problems solved. We ended up doing a blog post as well. Twitter solved the 3 months pending issue in 2 days. ICICI Bank manager came home. So here, how did ICICI Bank got to know? One is, and that answers why Twitter is a search engine. On Twitter, let me do that as well. On Twitter, if you search, go to search.twitter.com. Let me do that. So there may be a little delay, but I think if you get that, that itself will be, for some of you who have not used Twitter search, you will find huge value. If I search for any keyword, say like ICICI Bank, all tweets on real time which have ICICI Bank in that will come as result. So on real time, on Twitter, you can search for conversations about yourself, your brand, so about anything, literally. About if you search for your name, you will see if someone has tweeted with that. So that's one reason why Twitter is a search engine. Like if I search for Pradeep Chopra, all tweets including mine, if someone has retweeted, should be, it hasn't come. Though there were a lot of results including mine. Let me search for digital Vidya. Some issue with, there would be a lot of results. Anyways, but the point is, yeah, if you search, you will find out. On real time, Twitter allows you to search for conversations about yourself. And that's the power of Twitter. So what happened was ICICI Bank has been searching for keywords which have that keyword in the tweets, and they respond. And the point here is, it's not about me having followers. At that point of time, I did not have many followers. But an ICICI Bank, I'm sure, would not say that if this person doesn't have followers, let us not care about that. Because I may not have followers. But if a friend of mine has followers, and if that person tweets my tweet or retweets my tweet, that one tweet by him or her can make all the difference. And on Twitter, the support structure is very strong. People cooperate, more than any other network. And also another point here to look into is, earlier I was alone. Outside of social media, I didn't have much noise. I didn't have much voice. Once I got on social media, it became public. So that's way, if you see, for more than anything else, CRM has been majorly affected by Twitter. Whole brand, like there is an example of Domino's video which largely spread through Twitter at that point of time and costed Domino's $50 million to just put their efforts and building their brand image back. So there was a whole reputation crisis Domino's faced because of that video. So for, whether you want to build a brand or not, you don't have a choice but to be listening for what others are saying about you. If people are saying bad about you, you have an opportunity to prevent that disaster which can happen. If people are talking great about you, they can really become your brand ambassadors. So social media from that angle, if you see, and Twitter alone here, influences a brand, probably bigger than any other medium. And there are enough examples of that. Hello Me Hippo, if you have seen Hippo as chips, they have significant extent built their brand through social media, and Twitter was one. The way they tweet, the way they interact with you in broken English, you would fall in love with that. So social media being one-to-one, being engaging, has that much high brand recall value as well. Then, this is again an example of how social media plays a role. I had a problem with the Apple MacBook, and Apple was not willing to listen. I spent 45 days and nothing happened. Then what I said, I will do what I want to do. So I posted a review about my experience on MouthShut. MouthShut is India's largest review site, and then I gave the link. And then Apple started to listen. They said, okay, what do you want? I said, this is a problem. So they said, okay, we will replace. So they gave me a new laptop, a brand new laptop with much higher configuration without me paying anything. Again, the next laptop had the same problems which I figured out was there with us, that particular model, which was, plastic polymer, white color polymer body. Then, they said, what do you want? I said, I don't want to use Apple. They refunded my entire money after using the laptop for 2 years. So something which they were not even willing to listen, just one review. At that point of time, it was not popular. Today, it is probably among maybe the most popular review on MouthShut, over 85,000 views. For me, I got the money back or I got the laptop replaced. But if I look at the cost of this review for Apple, it will be in couple of crores. Like since then, since it's close to, or January 2008, I had posted this, so close to more than 3 years now, I have been receiving mails across the corner, should we buy Apple MacBook or not? And if I look at the price of Apple MacBook, it would have costed them huge money. And still, for some reasons, I don't understand, Apple doesn't listen, specifically in Indian context. I'm still on MacBook. This webinar I'm also reading on MacBook. This is a new version, and I've updated this review as well. But it's still there. Like nothing, they could have leveraged this in a big way for them. But the point here is, as an organization, you have a responsibility to care for your customers. There are no more times when your customer is alone. They specifically on social media, they have much bigger noise and voice. A brand can be completely ruined or can be built purely using social media. And that's what the both sides produce an opportunity or creates a reason why you should care about social media for brand building. I'll give you one example of LinkedIn, which is a recent, now it's a couple of months back change which happened, which is a very, very significant change. Earlier, so LinkedIn, one of the important elements of LinkedIn is recommendations, and LinkedIn largely works on the recommendation engine. Earlier, you used to get recommendations on your individual profile. So if you are maybe the organization founder or you are some of your key employees who are interfacing with the customers, they get a testimonial, but it will stay with the individual profile. A couple of months back, LinkedIn came up with something called LinkedIn Company Pages. It has various features, and one of the features is you can list your product and service on your company page. And then you can have feedback from your customers on LinkedIn, which will stay along with that product on your company page. Like we have our company page where we have listed our flagship workshop, social media marketing. And as a process, we get people to give their feedback. So there, if you go to this page, I would say if someone asks me how good or bad is your workshop, I don't have any better place than this to share with them and tell them, you decide. And if any one of them spend some time listening for what these people are, what they have shared, they will get that, this is a great opportunity. So for all of us, given this LinkedIn company page has made an opportunity to create our customers' brand ambassadors. So what happens is when those people give a feedback, they are letting their people, their friends also know that they have given a feedback to this product by this company. So one is this stays forever. It's the best testimonial for any company. Second, when they are doing that, it creates a lot of that viral element into it. And LinkedIn has been working so well for us. Recently, around 4 months back, we got a lead which happened through LinkedIn, and it was worth $40,000. So almost across channels, if you see whether LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, there are opportunities to fulfill any business objective. In most of the cases, there will not be a significantly direct impact on your business in terms of maybe revenues. But if you see, because if you are able to create trust, if you are able to create ambassadors, if you are able to create influencers for your brand, that will have a probably much bigger impact on your top line and bottom line, because it will have a long-lasting impact. It will be directly coming from your customers. Your customers will get more customers. So with that, I would just share this last example. This is, I would have loved to play this video, but bandwidth would not allow. This is a taxi driver which is based out of Banaras. He was a guest speaker in one of our recent workshops in Delhi. And this is a video on YouTube. If you search for Indian taxi driver, you will get it. And this was shot by one of his customers. And this video, if you see, he gives his information about who he is, what services he offers, what is his mobile phone number, which has an international ISD code as well. And he gets a lot of international customers because of this video. Because people who go through this video, who are planning to come to India, they find out, he is someone who understands India, who understands English, and given, he has traveled, he has done so much, he is probably the best option we have. So he wanted to buy Innova. So we spoke to them and, found out he got a lot of value just from this video, and a lot of his dream got fulfilled. Today he's thinking, really big, doing a lot of partnerships and all. And this video was a starting point. So I think if this guy can use it, all of us can use it. And it's no more anyways in the future. Reality is already there. Some of you would have already seen this. Social media is already a mainstream. Like if you see, this is again a real example. Facebook chat wala, BBM Tiki chart, Skype Bhel, Twitter Pani Puri, Gtalk Dahi Wala, or Kuch Se Puri. And with all, I would say ultimately what you want to use social media for is like this. Zappos is a company which sells shoes in US, and by getting their whole key employees, including CEO, sharing what's happening in the company, all good, bad, ugly, through their Twitter channel, they have been able to create this positioning, which is called talking to Zappos is like talking to a friend who happens to sell shoes. And this is what you really want to do. And the ultimate victory on social media is to be able to build friendship. If you are able to do that, that's the best way to build brand. With this, I don't think any one of us are at a stage where we think social media is an option. Thank you so much. We have 15 minutes, or I can